Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a good night. I am going to show you guys what I read in 2023. I didn't start really reading until the end of September when I got a hold of Book Talk and started watching more videos. So now I am reading so much more. The first book I read was The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters. I loved that book. It had good world building. The characters in it were built so well. And I had so much fun reading it. And I wish I could have read it faster. I have a kid that keeps me pretty busy, so it was a little bit of slower read. The middle of the book, there was a lot of training, and I love that it was going through how this character was building up to his rage and whatnot, and I loved that it kept me engaged with that. But there was something in the book that really got old to me, and it's kind of in the second book as well, and that is why I rated it 3.5 stars. Otherwise, his writing is really well done, and I enjoyed it. The next book that I read was Shatter Me. After reading that last book, I decided I was going to start buying books. I probably should have not. So when I saw this book, I didn't see it on TikTok or anything because I didn't get on it that much. But I went to Barnes & Noble and just browsed, and I loved the characteristics of these lines, and this first page literally just got me hooked and wanting to read more. I read it in literally one day. It was a great book, and at the time I was so into it, I would have rated it probably almost 5 stars had I not rated it till now, after reading a bunch of actual 5-star books. So I rated this one at 3.5, mostly because the ending kind of upset me that it wasn't more. And I needed more from this book. I wanted more details about the book because this book didn't have as much details as the Evan Winters, The Rage of Dragons. And so it was just, I like to know details. It wasn't very long. It was really easy to read. So 3.5 for me. The next book I read was The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winters. I needed to know what happened with this character, and so I went to the library and I got that book too. And I enjoyed this book even more than the first one, and I rated it at 4 stars. It still had kind of the same little repetitive thing of something that this character absolutely has to do, but I did feel like I didn't need that as much. I just wanted to know what was going to happen in the book. And then he left me on such a cliffhanger. I can't wait till the third. I know he's like a little behind on it, I think, but I can't wait. The next book I read, A Court of Thorn and Roses. I love this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. And decided that the only reason I did that was because in the middle I did get a little bored because it was a little slower, but I listened to the audio at that point, and I couldn't put it down. I read this one pretty quick, maybe 3 days, as much as it wasn't a huge like all her other books, so it was a little bit easier, but I was so invested in these characters. I loved the detail of everything in all of her books. But I loved how she built these characters up. Such good writing. Good job, Sarah J. Maas. Next, I read Haunting Adeline. I saw in like one of the book recommendations Haunting Adeline. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I love the cover. I'm kind of a dark, but it was my first dark romance, and I didn't know what to expect. I read the trigger warning, and I was like, this is going to be interesting, because I thought it was about her being haunted not what it was, about 5 stars for me. I enjoyed this book. I read it so fast, I immediately ordered the next book right after. And I know it's not for everybody. But I enjoyed it. So, next, Hunting Adeline. I had to know what happened. I just had to. Oh my God. 5 stars. I love this. Then The Big Heights, Fourth Wing. I had bought the gold edition. Let my mom borrow it before I read it. So I had to wait till this one came out, because I'm obviously going to wait for the collector's edition. The special edition, whatever you want to call it. 5 stars. I love the world building, the character building. I love the dragons. Everything about this book just kept me hooked. I still think about it. Next, I read Iron Flame. How can I not? 5 stars. I know some people didn't enjoy this and gave it less. Yeah, I believe that Fourth Wing was a little bit better, but I love this book. I love that we got to see more of the characters. I got to see the development that they built up in that other book, how they actually act in this book, and moved on from the teenage feel that it had, that I enjoyed this almost more. I liked the way the story was in that one, the other one, Fourth Wing, but this one kept me hooked. What did you do, Rebecca? I can't wait for the 3rd book. Next, I read Too Late by Colleen Hoover, and I was also reading A Court of Mist and Fury. So we'll start with this one. I gave this one a 4 stars. And I say that barely made a 4-star because I was hooked the entire time. I enjoyed it all. But the ending just didn't do it for me. I was bored by the end, I guess. I wanted to know what was going to happen. And I feel like the build up to it, there could have been even more at the end. It was a shocking ending, but I feel like there could have been, I needed a little bit more. It was my first Colleen Hoover book, so maybe I'll rate it less later. I don't know. A Court of Mist and Fury. I love this book. It kept me on my toes. I loved everything about this book. And I gave it like a 4.8. Almost 5. No, it was 5. It was 5 stars. Who am I kidding myself? I just love her writing and how much detail she gives about everything. I do listen to some of this on the audio, and mostly through some of the conversations parts of it, and it's just so big. I listened to it while in the airport, and when I was packing, that's when in wrapping Christmas presents before I left on my vacation, that's when I listened to this one mostly. But I read the rest of it in the ending, and I just why? I am currently reading the next book, sitting right here, A Court of Wing and Ruin. I started it before Christmas because it's just been so busy this last 2 weeks with Christmas and New Year's, and I was not home really ever. And yeah, almost done.